Hello, team, and welcome to episode 40 of Creative English 2025, The Brazilian Man Who Went to the Beach. And I don't know if you have ever had this problem, but a little bit scary to say the word beach in English. I wonder why. But it's not just that. I have some students who work with chat bots. Sometimes they sound like this, and I will not explain what that means, but you can Google it, ChatGPT it. Team, we have a polemic class today. And no, we are not talking about religion, politics, and soccer. We are talking about pronunciation. Why do I consider it polemic? I have met amazing English speakers, much smarter than I am, and who've done PhD programs in other countries, visiting scholars, but they have really strong accents. And I've also seen the opposite. I've seen people who don't really speak English, but they can kind of emulate what they hear, and their accent sounds really good. And I shouldn't have said that, because when we say accent, it's not about good or bad, right or wrong. But for many people, it is something that they would like to, let's say, detropicalize, sound a little bit less Brazilian. And if that is something that you would like, first of all, I don't think it should be a number one priority for anybody. But if you are already at an English level where you understand most of the rules, you are a good communicator, it is something that you can work on. And today I'm going to bring you some rapid fire tips that you can use to improve your pronunciation. All right, so let's take a look. I have some questions to warm up. And I think this is also important to remember. And you are here listening to me speak. You are improving your English because, many people in English-speaking countries are too lazy or incompetent or just have not had a reason to learn a second language. So remember this: if you ever feel uncomfortable, you are the one making the effort to speak a second language. It is not a you problem. It is a them problem. So I sent this video, especially cool for parents who want to raise their kid bilingual. There is not just one bilingualness. There are various types. And even if you are a really good English speaker, depending on how you learned your second language, it might be a little bit different than what your child is going through. Really cool. And if you want a deeper dive, I picked a 5-minute video. Let me know. I'll send you something else. So something for us to start with: what is the number one benefit learning English has brought you? Most of my students say either something like work related or maybe travel related. Me, John, as the teacher, I would say that the number one benefit, I hope, for everybody, is that you have more access to quality content. Even if some Brazilian person writes something really amazing, they will probably put it in English so that people from other places can understand it. The same is true for all other countries in the world. There are amazing people from all over, and we nowadays, because of the internet, have access to. And English is kind of where everything meets. So I think that would be my number one pick for you guys. But each of us has our own personal individual reason. Number two, your results are directly proportionate to your sacrifice. Patrice's version is your results are directly proportionate to your effort. Maybe I'm a little bit harsher, because I think we end up having to trade something. If you want to focus more on work, you will have less time for your family. If you want to, spend all day with your family, maybe you will not have time for the gym. Maybe you have to trade A for B. So I do believe in the sacrifice. And why did I mention this in this class? If your pronunciation, if your accent is something that frustrates you, you will need to sacrifice a little bit of your communication that you have reached. You will need to sound a little bit silly so that you can kind of edit these details. So you're doing this, that, th sounds. You might have to exaggerate a little bit. You might need to really put in that effort. So every time you say, I'm going to do it in Portuguese because it's easier, remember, that's what we're talking about. Number three, we are in a school picking phase for our daughter, Lise. She will be starting grade school. Grade school will be like 1st to 8th grade, and then elementary school would be the first part of that. And I've been hearing really cool things from not just parents, but just people from their experiences in school. And one thing that people all agree should be a part of it, the number might vary, is that kids should have more exposure to English. So, what do you think? What percentage of a child's education in Brazil should be in English? All right. Those are our warm up questions. Let's get to the pronunciation tips. Number one, this right here is the telltale sign of a really strong Brazilian accent. I remember growing up in New York, sometimes you'd hear like an I likey, hotchy, doggy, and that wow, that stretch at the end with that vowel sound is like the most notable sign that yeah, that person likes caipirinha and listens to pagode. You know that Brazilian right there. It's not by accident. There's a reason for this. Most of our words end with vowels. They come from Latin languages where we have a caneta, o copo, and the reason for this is this masculine and feminine thing. So sometimes our brain tries to add a vowel sound. I've seen how my daughter is learning how to read. It's usually consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. So it is natural for us to look for that last vowel, but most English words end with a hard consonant ending. What's the trick? Imagine that you're trimming that last millisecond, like you're making like a video for Instagram, trimming that last millisecond. It's especially notable at the end of phrases. Number two, while English does not use accent marks, we have what we call open vowel sounds. We have a certain range of flexibility. You can say data or data, aunt or aunt, because somebody from Scotland will speak differently from somebody from Australia and somebody from Texas. Here in Brazil, we have pretty strict rules for vowel sounds. That does not mean we don't have some tips. For example, right here, hat. But this letter right here, A, we have this word right here, hate. You can hear the letter A. Hate, A. Why is this? This E is like a sign that you will pronounce the vowel the way that you say it. This is called a hard vowel sound when you really cannot change it. A-E-I-O-U. So this E, I'd say about 90% of the time, nothing is perfect, but it is a signal that the previous vowel will be pronounced the way that you say it. Number three, speaking of silent letters, this is crazy for Brazilians. This does not make sense. We do not have letters that we do not pronounce in Portuguese, but in English, it is really common. We do not say knife, slip kinote, kino. No. We say no, knowledge, knife, Slipknot, the band. The K is silent. This comes from German. I have no idea how they pronounce it in German. Psychology, the P is silent. Psychiatry, psychopath. Resign, this one comes from Latin. The PS is from Greek. The resign, this one's from Latin. I guess it would be resignare. So we have that extra syllable at the end. In Portuguese, resignar. But in English, we end at the end. So this G kind of disappears. Resign, sign, assign. It's not just that. Doubt and debt. There's no B sound. Island. Where's the S sound? So when you get these two consonants going together and it feels like something is missing, usually the first consonant sound kind of appears in the wind. Number four, this is a quick fix. Since we learn to read every single syllable in Portuguese, sometimes I'll hear talked, played, wanted. Wanted's actually correct. But if you ignore this E, most of our suffixes, they start with vowels because we don't know what it's going to come after. ED, ing, even Y has a vowel sound. So that we don't have one of those like Viking names with 47 consonants and no vowels, we start them with these vowels. And if you ignore the E, it'll sound much more natural. Talked, played, wanted. This one, no matter what, they'll sound the same. But here, it sounds played is different than played. Talked sounds like a T. Watched. Now, don't worry about the sound. Just ignore the E and you'll say it correctly. Number five, this one can be frustrating. I'm sure you had a friend in school that talks like this, but in English, this is a necessary fundamental sound. This TH is part of our language. Each language has some limitation. My American friends, they could not say cuello. They'd say cuello. Somebody from I've seen some like people from China, they sometimes have the difficulty with the R sound. They'll say like flied instead of fried. So each place has its limitation. And this TH, we are trained not to say it in Portuguese, but mechanically, if your tongue does not touch your teeth, this, that, these, with, teeth sound will not come out. So exaggerate a little bit. Expression of the week, tit for tat. Tit for tat. I score a goal, you score a goal. And it's useful for us to practice this. Tit for tat, this or that. Tit for tat, this or that. It's a good warm up. Number 6, SH and CH. The SH sound in English sounds like the CH sound in Portuguese. So like shopping mall, but then we have words like chinelo, chorei in Portuguese, same sound. Now the CH sound in English, harder, cha, and it sounds like the band, cha. So cha. Remember this sound whenever you see a CH. And a good way to practice, you actually get 2 for 1, is to say one of these words without any context. And what happens is most Brazilian English speakers will funnel in this direction towards the word sheep. All of these 4 words sound like sheep. But you can notice where you can extend the words. The sh sound is easy to extend, but as is the E sound. So sheep, but cheap. I cannot extend that first CH. Here, ship. I can extend here, not here. Chip. Both parts are pretty quick. So say one word without context. See if your friend can figure out which one you said. Another one, 2 C's together. We have a KS sound. Accessory. So success. You will say both C's. That's why they're there. The next one is what I call a hello world problem. Hi, mundo. They sound the same. And this R sound, especially at the beginning of the word in Portuguese, it sounds like an H in English. What's the trick? Imagine a W before the R. So look at this. Hi. I start with my mouth open, but right, wrong, you start with your mouth closed. So if you imagine a W before the R, you will naturally say it's not better, but more Englishy. Number 9, you do not need to speak like this. You do need to train your ear. Most words or most sounds can turn into an sound. For example, my mom, her name is Maria Angela, but you can abbreviate to Maria Angela because it's easier. And this A sound, it's easy to flow into the next word. So going to, want to, gonna, wanna, could have, would have, should have, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? That song made millions speaking incorrectly. But kind of, this is actually a more natural way of saying like so, more or less. But you do not need to speak like that. You do need to understand that people will talk like that. And if you use subtitles, the subtitles will write it all pretty and nice for you. So you might have that, that difference between what you're hearing and what you are reading. And last up, pay attention to the inflection point. This is the syllable where you need to emphasize. In Portuguese, we give equal play time to each syllable. Banana. But in English, banana, the second one, the na, is the important one. So when you're learning new vocab, see where that inflection point is. And if you hit that, you have a certain amount of flexibility in the other syllables. And any doubt, English, I cannot recommend it more times. Team, our talking point is about schools. So if you have any thoughts about these, here are your points. Your challenge, some tongue twisters. When you do some exercises, you warm up. Why would you not warm up before you speak? So next time you have to do something in English, take a minute or 2 to practice some of these. If you have trouble with one, that's the one you should practice. Last up, fun little video for you to see the dangers of some bad pronunciation. Team, that's what I've got for you. Like always, thank you, and I hope to see you in class. Have a good one.